I know you're a realtor, and yes, you help individuals to locate the home of their dreams and the home that aligns with their values. But you also work on the opposite end of that spectrum, helping individuals to declutter, to downsize as they're transitioning. You mentioned the conversations and working with adult children who are are honoring their parents' wishes. My name is Donna Marie, Death Doula, celebrant, end of life and love legacy guide, and educator. Welcome to the Sacred Moments podcast. This is a space to normalize heartfelt conversations around mortality, grief, love legacy, and end of life planning. Before we move into today's conversation with Angela Warren, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you know when new episodes are available. Like our content, share our content, and share your comments. I'm honored to welcome Angela Warren. She's a real estate professional who sits at the intersection of home, life transition, and intentional letting go. Angela supports individuals and families as they navigate some of life's most emotionally complex moments, downsizing, decluttering, preparing for home sale, and making decisions during major life change. And so, Angela, welcome again to the Sacred Moments podcast.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I've been looking forward to this.
One of the reasons I invited you here today is because your work actually aligns with my work as an end-of-life planner, as a death doula, and that's what I would love to talk about today. I know you're a realtor, and yes, you help individuals to locate the home of their dreams and the home that aligns with their values. But you also work on the opposite end of that spectrum, helping individuals to declutter, to downsize as they're transitioning. You mentioned the conversations and working with adult children who are honoring their parents' wishes. So tell me about the work you do in and even full spectrum, the work you do overall and the work you do specifically in the end of life planning realm.
I'm a realtor. I love helping people with one of the largest purchases or sales of their lives. So that's very rewarding for me. And I feel like every client I've ever had turns into a family member, which is also very important to me. Right now, I am talking to a lot of adult children with
Mhm.
about their parents, guiding them on making decisions for their parents, but also um, respecting their parents to make a decision on their own. Extremely important for these adult children, and it's absolutely beautiful to see.
Yeah.
Because it's a blessing to reach, the ripe ages of 60, 70, 80, and 90 years old. And no one wants to feel like just because you can't physically move comfortably that you aren't able to make a decision. Uh,
Hmm.
so the adult children are respectfully guiding their parents, and sometimes they just need um, the words and tools to help their parents arrive at different decisions. So we start with meeting someone who has their first thought is, well, this is too much house for me.
Hmm.
And typically, it's more than just it's too much house. I think at that point, the individual is really experiencing that physically they are having challenges moving. It's not just the maintenance of the house, it's really that they are having difficulty going from level to level.
Hmm.
Or a family member is realizing that, in a um, 3 bedroom, 6 room house, they're only using the living room and the bathroom. It becomes obvious that those other areas of the home is being neglected. Um, but here's the challenge, I think. Most seniors don't want to give up that power. They don't want to have the conversation. So I try to tell my adult clients, adult children clients, um, even if you're checking on your parents verbally, you should take some time to check on them physically.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
because a parent will tell you, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's good. Um, they don't want to bother us because we've got lives, we're
Hmm.
working. And oftentimes, I mean, we do it because we call our parents and we say how busy we are, and the parent is like, okay, well, I guess I won't tell them that I had difficulty going to the bathroom today.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's really important to make it a calendar event if it's not just a normal instinctual event to go check on your parents physically. And if you're not in town, because a lot of times, adult kids are living out of the general area, have um, a family friend or hire someone to come
Yeah.
and visit, because a lot of that is discovered. Their needs are truly discovered when you can really physically go see them. Once we've determined that the senior um, is slash needing slash ready to make a transition, then we start to really evaluate the weeds of things, which is, where they're going to go. What would be ideal? Would they move in with their child, or would they move to a 55 plus community? Do they need a specific care, memory care, things like this. I also help the child to determine the child of the senior. Can they stay in their home for a period of time if we hired some help, someone to come and see them for 3 hours a day or 3 times a week? So it's a bit of a process. I have no problem with helping because again the journey is respectful, and we want the senior to um, be psychologically tapped into the fact that, I'm ready. I'm ready to live with someone else.
Yeah.
I'm ready to be among my age group. I've taken seniors out and given them tours at different places. And I can tell you that one of the things that's most important to our seniors is the menu. They want to make sure they're moving into some good food, which is lovely. And because some of them are a little antisocial, the activities are not the selling point, and
Yeah.
all of them offer activities. So it really is, the space, the menu, and does it feel like an old place, where you've got like the population sitting in wheelchairs looking out the window and no one's talking. I mean, that is really scary. It's a window into their own future, and they don't want to
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we look for those things. And then I help the adult children really, I arm them with some tools to help their parent come to that decision of it's time to go. And again, it's done with respect, hand holding, and just creating a lot of trust over
What
time.
led you to, um, or has it always been a part of your work as a realtor? What, if not, what guided you to this aspect of your work?
Been doing real estate over 22 years, and I've transitioned, I think, with um, the stages of life that I've been through. My parents are now seniors, and I helped them sell a home out of the area. They're still
Hmm.
living in their primary home, but it was an interesting journey, and I truly discovered how heavily marketed they are and how they can be taken advantage.
Yeah.
And it really resonated with me to tried to be a stopgap for that. I went and got a specific designation, senior real estate specialist, to kind of learn more about their journey, what they go through, their challenges, what their needs are, and
Mhm.
who offers different services like for decluttering or aging in place, putting grab bars in bathrooms, chair lifts. I also started visiting all of the 55 plus communities in the Virginia area, really getting to know their environments and the people that process seniors into their community. It was important for me to see how that worked because I wanted to be able to refer seniors to specific places and be able to personally recommend places that I had stepped into, people that I've spoken to and build a rapport with. I've even tasted some of their menus. And so that's where I started to really get the drive. And then again, I think it's just really, I'm not far from being a senior. I'm not a spring chicken, and I want to be respected in that stage of my life. And so I'm a huge proponent of, you treat people as if how you want to be treated. So yeah, so I feel like I am doing that one senior at a time. I actually am affiliated with specific companies that do decluttering, and they can also either renovate or do handyman specials to prepare the home. Because typically, um, seniors would love to sell their homes for the highest price so that they can use those monies for the care that they need.
Yeah.
So we have a beautiful package that really outlines for any senior or their child, their adult child, from start to finish on how to talk to your senior, how to declutter, and then how to transition them from where they are to the new place. Sometimes we sell it after they've moved out, sometimes we do it while they're still there. We also have companies that will help them. And this is getting into the weeds of it, but also help maybe take money from their equity in their home to move into their new facility. Um, I just there's not enough information, I think, for seniors and for their adult children to really see a clear pathway because it can be very overwhelming. Every person has a different circumstance, and you kind of have to feel your way through it. And for me, that's just the rewarding part of it, because, finding those solutions and telling them that it's possible to achieve what you need to achieve,
Yeah.
you just need to know the right people. And I feel like I have a very good team in place to help in any stage of that process.
Someone is considering selling or transitioning. Um, what are some important questions you think they should be asking themselves?
Definitely. So I think some of the first questions is what type of community do you want to move into, or do you want to move in with your kids? When you know where you're going, then you can determine how much you can bring with you, how much you
Mm,
need to purge, and the timeline. Some of these places are at capacity. So there might be a little bit of a wait for you to get in. Do you want to do a whole renovation? Do you want to sell with your stuff in it? We want the senior to have a very seamless transition. So
mhm.
we will take on as much as they want us to, or as little as they want us to. From there, we then talk about the proceeds expected, and that will also help us to determine what their options are. So we have a consult about what their needs are. Do they need medical assistance? Are they still active? What type of home do they want to be in? Do they want to be in a walkable community, or do they want to be close to children? Do they want to move out of the area? And then from there,
Hmm.
we kind of put together a nice timeline and package of helping them solidify those decisions.
What I'm learning is the importance within the life planning, at any phase. There, a holistic approach is so important because there's not just the decluttering or not just the selling of the property. As you stated, when moving to a place, whether it be with a family member or a community, you have to make a decision based on what aligns with your values, your finances. You have to have your legal paperwork in order. You have to consider your mobility, your health conditions. All of those things are so important to consider when making decisions. It's not just one aspect, and it sounds like you sit with people and help them decide holistically what's best for them. To look at the big picture of a thing is so important.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's not only that, the conversations, the checking up on the parent, and having conversations are so important. It's one thing to put something down on paper or to, outline whatever it is you think you want, but to sit and talk to someone is a lot more clear. With communication, you don't just hear the voice, you see the emotion, you feel the energy, and that all of that is communicating something. It's not just the words or what's written on the physical paper. And so, that holistic approach, again, is so important, and that is the beauty in what it is you're
It's
doing.
very rewarding. And I mean, you get like you get a chance to really meet them and who they were, who they are as people, and everyone's story is amazing. I've been through some estate sales and I've helped because some of these people don't even have children, so they
Yeah.
they have you know, a divorcee that is still friendly with them, that will, has been named as a personal representative to dissolve their estate. And you see their story, their life's work in their home. It's enriching to me because our stories are different. And it's a beautiful thing when you can see their collections, what they love to do, and their accomplishments in their professional careers, and to be a part of it, to be a part of it.
I have clients who inherit homes full of belongings, and either they put everything in storage and kind of forget that it's there, or they might move into the house where their parents lived and become overwhelmed. How do you help families not just deal with the clutter, but the unresolved emotion, that part, that letting go, that releasing, that guilt that maybe someone is holding inside? That is so real when you're in these conversations with people. And how, just can you share a story maybe?
I mean, I have so many. I recently helped a situation where the mom died 8 years ago, and the son was named as the personal representative because he still lived in the local area, did nothing with the home for 8 years. Everything stayed there. They were mowing the lawn, they were maintaining the house, but everything was still there. So the sister who lived in the Midwest had to get an attorney involved to have the personal representative moved from her brother to her. And things moved very quickly from there. She came, she visited, she started to disperse the things. And the brother finally came around
Mm.
because he married someone who also knew the mother and was locally located. But it was a lot of hand holding and it was a lot of going down memory lane.
Yeah.
We're in this age group. I think, this type of work would be very difficult for someone in their 20s or a new realtor. So because I am near the ages of these people, I'm very familiar with the different things that were cool or known at that time. And so we are able to relate. And we're able to share some memories, which is soothing, because I think that I am not, I don't bring judgment in the history of that memory. I am just a third person that they can express themselves without judgment,
Yeah.
and release those memories that they haven't yet verbalized or really allowed them to even think about until they picked up that yearbook or that picture album. Or they see a bookcase full of books that all of them used to read, at the end of the day when they came home from school. It allows them to verbalize the memory and then they're okay with releasing it. For me, I'm constantly purging my house to Salvation Army because I know the dangers of clutter. And I tell my children, we are releasing this for someone who really needs it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we make room for something new. And I've trained them early because it's something that I would say often. And so I say that to these clients, and it allows them to release it because we're not family members. We don't have that push pull energy that they have to fight against. It really is like, okay, I know you're not trying to hurt me. I know you're not trying to take something from me. I know you're just trying to help this along. And I think that they have a very healthy perspective with that. Now, there are certainly many more that don't have that healthy perspective, and we take a pause and we handhold and we do ask them, so what does this mean to you?
Yeah.
And they share. Sometimes they don't right at that moment, but we set goals to go through room by room. I always also try to help my seniors when they've made that decision and a home that they've been living in for 20 years is very overwhelming to purge. I try to tell them, focus on one room at a time, just one room at a time. It allows the process to start. Now, of course, I then start setting time limits. Like we're not going to spend, 2 months in this room but again, it's a client by client assessment. The commonality that we're finding is adult children don't want their parents' things.
Right.
And their generation, their parents left things to them, so they feel that that's what they're supposed to do. So we do hope to get them comfortable with the fact that, listen, your kids don't want that china cabinet.
Right.
We don't want that tablecloth from 30 years ago. We love the memories of it, but we don't need it.
Right.
So starting those conversations as quickly as you can or as early as you can is healthy for them and
Do
you.
you think if we kind of reframe decluttering in our conversations as a love legacy act, do you think people would approach it differently?
Totally. Totally, totally, totally. I think, decluttering is a marketing term. And I think it's sort of a quick response to those that um have 20 and 30 years of stuff. But you're right. I definitely think, and typically it's certainly verbalized differently when you're in front of the client. So it is received a little differently, but certainly it is a love legacy. And I think they come to terms with it so much better when one says, this is waiting for someone else to use it and
Hmm.
really create their own memories with it. And that is soothing to them because that's one of the reasons why they're holding on to these things for their kids is to enable them to create those memories. But you're right, the kids are different, our homes are shaped differently, our lifestyles are different. And so it is, out with the old, but respecting the old and
Yeah, yeah.
celebrating the new. I think this new generation is recognizing um, that things weigh you down
Hmm.
because they're not getting their own homes in the 20s like our parents did.
Yeah.
So they remain fluid. And some of the things that I'm seeing too in terms of because we are noticing that we are people of clutter. I mean, you've seen the the constructions of all of these storage places everywhere. People just buy storage units to store things and they never see it,
Yeah.
right? They just want to know that it's somewhere that they can access. But what I've seen is an increase in people who help us make our memories last. For instance, things like Shutterfly, where you can make books, where we had picture albums, you can make
Hmm.
books of your memories. Also, people are sending in like baby clothes, baby blankets into a company, and then they're making it into like one blanket, or they're
Yeah.
making it into some sort of keepsake. I've seen companies that will ask you to send in your kids' artworks and creative things, and then they make a picture book of it. So there's different. So I find that this generation is kind of learning to synthesize and make smaller, if you will, their memories. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I think we are trying to find more efficiencies in life
Yeah.
um, because we are moving so fast, which is why, moments are invaluable these
Yeah.
days.
I believe it's important to recognize that we're all walking home, right? We're all walking one another home. We're all walking toward that resting place.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so important as we're decluttering to keep our elder self in mind, to 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 lose that attachment to things and not be weighed down by those things because when we're older and when we're at the end of our life, those things continue to weigh us down. They continue to weigh. So being intentional with the decluttering really kind of eases not just the burden on our loved ones, but it allows us to release and be more free in the end as well.
When I go visit my seniors, and there's a few that I visit in their homes and their facilities on a weekly basis, um, I, we focus on, it's a blessing that you've gotten to the age that you are, late 80s and 90s.
Hmm.
Um, and they have a wisdom that is extremely pervasive. And I tell them, I honor you. You're here. I enjoy having conversations with them. And it's rewarding to hear. about their life choices. And um, I use it to reflect on my own life. I mean, that is the point of being around wisdom.
Yeah.
You can make better decisions if you speak to the people that's been there before you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to honor them. I want them to know that they are appreciated because
Yes.
it is a blessing to be 90 years old and still functioning and still talking and sharing your feelings. And they appreciate that. They appreciate that a lot.
What do you think about letting go of belongings, how that helps people reclaim agency, especially when they're aging or ill or when there is a loss?
Um, I think spouses that's very hard. Spouses that have been married for so long,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's sudden.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important, um, especially when you've been living in a house for so long and you've lost a spouse, it's healthy to kind of move spaces. It's a touchy subject, and I think it really deserves a lot of hand holding and support,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because there's also the also, long-term care, people who've been dealing with and a senior that has dementia or has been ill with some other illness for a long period of time, and the caregiver is exhausted.
Yeah.
Um, so there's so many facets of this that just really humbles you as an able middle-aged person to really lean in towards them and help them to realize that focusing on their physical self is the priority and not to worry about the other things
Mm-hmm.
while family members and or attorneys and or facility care managers are helping them to strategize to put these things in place. Again, some of these seniors don't have children, so they're somewhat forced into
Yeah.
the decision. And that's extremely tough. But I work with a beautiful decorator that helps to make their place as comfortable and a true representation of like who they are. Um, because that's tough. The ones with children, the children are very much um, invested into making that senior come to the realization that it's time. And
Okay.
typically, they can show that by the fact that that senior, that parent, isn't able to do the simpler tasks, like go to
Like,
the bathroom, sign their names.
yeah.
uh, So it's through that realization with love, not, five people standing over you in your bed having these types of conversations that might be a one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Or we might come together for an intervention and say, Mom, Dad, we love you, but this has happened. We are worried about your safety. And because of that, here are the options.
Yeah.
You choose. And that's not always that day, but it is a process that they do realize. I mean, they're not oblivious, they are aware, but being told you can't do something, just like a 5-year-old child, is the quickest way to make that child do what you're telling them they can't do.
Yeah.
No, and so you have to help them realize that it is the best decision for them. So as much as possible, we try to get the senior to recognize that on their own. So purging and unloading physical stuff, emotional stuff, is first and foremost. I'm grateful, thankful to work with a plethora of different people across the different nuances of this work to help a senior and or their adult children to get there,
Yeah.
to get what they need done. We do have resources offered through counties, through the states, through the federal government. Um, if you own a home, there's things that one can do with their home to afford different options. There's just so much that can be talked about and explored.
Right.
And we can do that. We can do that together. Even us as adult children, we always want to think about minimizing. If you haven't touched things in a season, evaluate whether or not you really need that, or can you release that to someone who could use it, or someone who may need it more than you. And then if you're an adult, and you live near your parents, or if you don't, if you have a visit scheduled, start to have a conversation with your parents about, you guys are um have a lot of stuff. Do you need help purging, or, can I clear some of the things that you're not using? Or, um, can I see if you have some things that I may want?
Hmm.
And just be very intentional about doing that when you visit. Um, Spend as much time as you can with your elder, with your senior. Let them know that you respect and love them, and appreciate their journey, because seniors don't want to get older. They don't want to go. They do want to be seen like they're still in their 60s or 70s and they can do any and everything. Um, and then, certainly have that conversation, start to make plans, but realize that it doesn't have to be a drudge haul up a mountain. It can be pit stops, and um, just knowing that if you're prepared, everything is so much easier, as everyone gets older. So
Yeah.
just make time for that conversation. Take a walk, have a cup of tea, and then, of course, call me when you need
Yes,
any assistance in Maryland, DC, and Virginia.
absolutely.